And Chair now recognizes Mr. Frost from Florida.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to start off by saying that I find that bigotry, transphobia, and outright attacks on our LGBTQ plus community, these attacks that we've heard in this hearing today, are disgusting and unacceptable. Ms. Wiley, we've heard a lot of bigotry in this room today. Highly uncomfortable to sit here as one of these witnesses used their testimony time to, I guess, complain about the fact that maybe too many black and brown people are getting jobs, is what that sounded like. Once again, Republicans are trying to stoke fear by claiming that transgender people using the correct locker room somehow endangers cisgender women. Yet research shows that it's trans folks who are in danger. Trans folks are more likely, more than 4 times likely as cisgender people to be the victims of violent crime, including sexual assault. And groups who support victims of sexual assault agree with this. Bipartisan, nonpartisan groups, dozens of groups, including the National Alliance to End Sexual Violence. They signed a letter supporting full and equal access to locker rooms for trans folks. So I ask unanimous consent to enter this letter into the record, as well as a study by Williams Institute that shows the high rates of victimization for transgender individuals.
Without objection, so ordered.
I want to turn to the EEOC's final rule on how to implement Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, which, I'll remind my colleagues, passed the United States House of Representatives with over 300 votes, with over 200 co-sponsors, a bipartisan piece of legislation that my colleagues didn't have any problems with until they found out that maybe we can use it as a wedge issue to rev up some of our bigoted voters for the election this year. This important act requires employers to accommodate workers with limitations caused by pregnancy, childbirth, or medical conditions. In its rule, the EEOC makes it clear that pregnancy, childbirth, and related medical conditions includes abortion care. Ms. Wiley, my colleagues don't seem to understand why this is so important. Could you walk us through that and explain the potential consequences of undermining this important protection?
Well, I think, Congressman, you just did. I think that is a perfect explanation about the importance of the rulemaking to protect people from discrimination. And here's one of the things that I want to appreciate Attorney General Rokita for, is the acknowledgement that it is the Supreme Court of the United States of America. In fact, a Neil Gorsuch opinion, a conservative justice, that found that Title VII's prohibition on sex discrimination also prohibits employers from firing an employee, quote, simply for being transgender, close quote. So what we are hearing from the EEOC is it is taking to heart the directive from the Supreme Court that the plain language of Title VII and its prohibition against sex discrimination covers people who are transgender. And by the way, and as we know with all civil rights laws, when we protect the most vulnerable, we protect everyone. The reason it is so critically important is because those protections extend to everyone. And we should remember that, because it's one of the greatest lessons that we have seen, and why we should absolutely refuse to allow fear-mongering about 1% of the U.S. population. The transgender community in the United States is 1% of the U.S. population. And so the idea that states and localities, 200 municipalities, 18 states that are already providing the protections against discrimination we are talking about, some of them for years have not seen the fear, the violence, any of the things that we're hearing today. And the reason we are hearing it is because there is not a fact-based disagreement, but an ideological one. And what we should be dealing with is facts, because everyone is protected by our civil rights laws, everyone. And it is the facts that ensure we're protecting the most vulnerable.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wiley. I don't have much time left to get to my other questions, but I just wanted to let you keep talking because I agree with everything that you just said. And it's just a shame to sit in these hearings watching my colleagues attack programs that also are designed to help veterans. So to attack these programs is to attack what I consider true patriotism, which is more than a bald eagle, beer, and flag. It's about loving the people who live in the country, no matter who they are. Thank you. I yield back.
Chair recognizes Mr. Biggs from Arizona.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, witnesses, for being here. Andrea Lucas, who is a commissioner of the EEOC,